Hello, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for coming back, and as always, huge massive thank you for the support. I really do appreciate it. So coming back today again with the stained glass Wonderful Wildlife. This one's called Woodland Wonders. I have to point out this came to me as part of the design team, but even saying that, I would have bought it anyway even if I hadn't received it that way. But on this one we've got this beautiful rabbit, the squirrel, a stag and the owl. Then you've got your tag with your squirrel on and it says just for you. That's kind of got that daisy design on. This one's got the rose on for someone special and a hello you in the yellow. Then the printed cardstock is the cute rabbit with that sort of flower pattern going along. The foiled one is that beautiful squirrel. It's hard to sort of, it probably just looks like lines, but it is actually foiled and you can feel the difference in it when you get it home. But that's that foiled design. And then if you did get the inserts, that's not one that matches, but this one is with the flowers on, which matches that border. And then the insert and paper pack also has these double-sided print papers with the green sort of design on one side and that daisy on the other. Okay, so let's pop those to the side. And the cards I'm making today, they're going to be two really simple cards, hopefully effective, but we will see how it goes. Let's start by bringing in my trimmer. I'm going to bring in a piece of 6x12 cardstock and I'm going to cut it to 6x6. Okay, and then if I grab my trimmer, not my trimmer, my scoreboard, I'm going to score this down the middle at 3. So effectively we've got a 3x6 card, but once we get those toppers on, everything is going to go back to that 6x6 size. So let's pop that out of the way and give that a burnish down. So you can see this is going to be great for little bits of cardstock that you've got. Maybe you could use even the square little book rather than using the actual kit. But we're going to build this up. So that is the card blank that I'm starting with. So let's grab the trimmer again. And we're going to grab some black mirri. And I'm going to start by cutting this at 2 notches under the 3 and then 2 notches under the 6. And that's going to fit onto there quite nicely. Like I said, it's going to be great for bits of cardstock that you might have laying around. And then this one here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it to 5 3/4. And then I'm going to cut that to 2 3/4. So I'm keeping that flower border in with a little bit of that yellow. This piece here is, it's just about 5.5, I think. Yeah, just over 5.5. So it would be quite easy to make that into a 6x6 card with any of the little bits that you've got left over from any of the other bits and pieces that you do. Okay, so glues I'm going to be using. I've got my Clow tacky glue. No, that's not tacky, that's all-purpose glue in the clear, which is an alcohol-based glue, and the Clow tacky glue in the white, which is a sort of PVA sort of water-based glue. Okay, so I'm just going to take my all-purpose, just a little bit of tacky on those corners. And then pop that on. Now if you wanted to, you could go across there with a little bit of ribbon, maybe a bit of black ribbon, a bit of blue ribbon. Just thinking, do I want to do that? Let's bring the ribbon in and we'll see what it looks like. It's best to have a little look now before we move on. I just have to find where this is. I think the really thick one. I'll do that. I knew you were here somewhere. I knew I'd used it in this kit. There we go. Let's just grab that out. There is I have got like a 1/2 centimetre one there, but I think that's going to be too wide. I just really, if I'm going to use it, I want it to go along this strip. And I think I'm going to use it, so. And these would have been ribbons that came from AliExpress or Temu, and I've had odd sort of bobbins left to pop them onto. So let's grab a little bit of red liner tape. Currently only have this really thin one, so I do need to order some more from eBay of that sort of 1/2 centimetre one. Okay, so I'm just going to put some red liner tape around about where we need that to be. Take those backs off. Hopefully they're going to stick in my little jar and not follow me around. I'm not thinking about it. And this is double-sided ribbon, so it's not quite so bad. So I've just popped my scissors underneath just to stop it sticking to the desk. I might just go up a tiny bit and just take out that bit of white, or a little bit of that white sort of. And because we've got that line there and we're following it, we can just use that as a guide on where to put our ribbon. Okay, so a little bit of tacky glue under there, which will do two things. It will glue it to the board and it will stop that fraying. A little bit of our normal glue, a little bit of our all-purpose glue. I think we'll go that side up, and then we're just going to pop this onto our card base. So that is our card as it stands at the moment, looking quite pretty. Now if I bring in the topper I'm going to use, and I'm going to use this huge one. If you want to, you can stick some acetate behind it for a bit of support, but just be aware, unless you're going to pop something behind it, the foam pads will show. Okay. So we're going to pop that out. I'm not using this frame because it's just where I've stored it. It has damaged a little bit of the foil anyway, so let's just get rid of that. And what I'm thinking is this is going to come, it's going to have to come pretty much to the bottom to be able to get into a 6x6 card. So around about there, and then we'll have this one on top coming over the top. So as you can see, it's quite a small card, but it isn't because it's got that impact there. Now I was thinking about putting this on some 1mm foam pads, but what I think I will do is keep that flat. It could go in the middle. Let's see what that looks like. No, I like it to the side, and then we can pop something here. Okay, so let's just put that down, put that on the edge, just, and then I can just pop some tacky glue. And just because this is the fastest to grab, you could easily use your alcohol glue, but just be aware, you know, just take that time to glue, and you don't want it sort of going for a wander. Okay, so just making sure I've got that straight, and within that, working within this 6-inch line just to make sure I can get it in a 6x6 envelope. So if I move that over, you'll see it's in that 6x6 block. Okay, and I think that's straight. Let's bring in my little ruler. That's straight. Happy with that. And then this one here is going to go on the inside. I'm going to pop this in just as a guide, and then I can use these 2mm foam pads all over inside that space, and I know they're not going to show. There we go. And then if I pop those backs off. Now I am going to use some tacky glue just to give me a little bit of wiggle room time, just in case. Now the reason why I never use my purple glue stick when I put the pads in the middle like this is because if you should happen to get some elsewhere, you are going to have some residue, so it's better to have something that's a bit more directional to make sure all the work we've done so far doesn't get stuffed up. So a little bit of that PVA glue, oops, and then we just need to line that back up with that frame we've put in, and then as per usual we can just pop that out. There we go. And we've got our little card that's sitting like so. You can see it's quite a nice depth between those two. Now I think for the sentiment, I did cut some of the black out, but I think it wouldn't really fit anyway. So I think I'm just going to go with, I'll have to go with Hello You. Just thinking, is there any other way I could use that? Let me just pop it out and we'll have a quick little fiddle. And these are from that is it Beautiful Sentiment border strips that I love. These are just my favourite dies, or one of my favourite dies at the moment. You can see I didn't cut it all out. Could go along there. Let's see. It would only just fit in there, so I think it's a bit big. Yeah, we're not going to do that, I don't think. Okay, we'll go with the Hello You, although I'm not happy about this. If you see in the photograph it's changed, I might have found something that works a bit better that's also a circle, but I'm going to pop this in. It's going to have to go down here on the green, I think, unless we go up on there and then have some gems there maybe, or we could go down there. I've already changed my mind. Look, we'll go for the Someone Special because it's going to stand out more with the blue. Okay, quick decision, change, and before I change my mind again, you know I'm going to do it. Like I say, it still may change, but I think this was going to work better with this card. I mean, Hello You isn't bad. It's just generally I tend to make, unless I'm making a Mother's Day or a Father's Day or a sympathy, I tend to try and make birthday cards because I think that's what we make most of generally. Let's go in with these gems. So I've got these black, kind of almost look silver, but they are black. Just 2 of those. So we're going to use 3 of these on here just to finish this one up. Obviously you're only going to need a tiny little bit of insert in there. You will have to be a little bit careful When you write in it though, I would suggest opening the card right out. Okay, so that's those. So you would have to open the card right out and then write in it and then fold it back. But that is card number 1. We'll pop this to the side just to for those glues to settle, and I'm going to get it set up for card number 2. Okay, so for card number 2, I've got a piece of 6x12 cardstock. I'm going to throw that around. No, I'm going to score it in half. So we've got a 6x6 card blank. And we're just going to make, like I said, these are 2 really nice, easy cards today. And then we're just going to make sure that's nice and straight and give that burnish down. So we're going with my favourite fold, a 10th fold when it comes to square. Let's bring in our trimmer. We've got our black mirror again. And I'm going to cut this piece to 2 notches under the 6 by 2 notches under the 6. Obviously you're going to keep those pieces. And that is going to be our main mirror mat. And then I'm going to bring in this squirrel foiled cardstock, and we'll cut this to 5 3/4. Now I do want some of this daisy border, but I don't want all of it. I think it would be quite a lot if I had it on there. It's almost all the card. So what I'm going to do is just take just over an inch. So I'm just going to go to the tip of this flower here, like so, so it looks like it's continuing on like it should, and then I'll cut that at 5 3/4. So we've still got a decent piece here. We could make that other card up to 6 by 6 really easily, and then we've still got that corner detail, but it's not dominating the whole card. And that's our card base. Okay, so let's go ahead and pop these on. And what I might do is cut a sentiment out. I might have to do that off camera though, because the caliber makes my whole camera shake. But we will see. So we've got just putting the tacky glue and the construction glue on, or the all-purpose glue, depending on where you get it from. Okay, so that is the basis for my card, looking pretty as it is. Happy with that so far. Could all go downhill though. Hopefully not. Okay, so just popping this out nice and hopefully quite gently. And don't forget, you can use these bits here as borders. You know, you can use every scrap they give you because they print edge to edge with it. It's there to be used. You don't have to use it, but you know, you've got it there if you do want it. Okay, so let's pop that out. Pop that one out. I'm not going to be using that, I don't think. We might use it. So my thing with this one was to cut this in half, have our squirrel going across the middle, and then we're going to need our sentiment. And I think that's still what I'm going to do, although like I say, I might have to die cut a sentiment. Let me grab my trimmer and let's turn it around the right way so it doesn't confuse me. Now, is there a... So I think we're just going to have to go with this middle point on here. Try and keep it as straight as possible. It probably is going to go off the end of my card. So I'm keeping it straight with this line here as well. So now we've done that terrible thing and cut it in half. So it'll be fine. Okay, so because we've got this leafery at the top, I'm going to keep that at the top. Let's see, is it going to be straight if I do it to the edges of the card? It would be perfect if it was. Obviously I need to line those up. I think it's going to be fine. It looks fine. Okay, so these ones are going to need my little T-square. I'm going to try and keep them at the same width, and I am going to be doing them with some tacky glue again, just because it will stay put. Does give us a little bit of time just to move them around, but not too much. And if I do get somewhere I don't want it to be, it will dry clear. So let's pop this on the mat. And that tip is just about at that point. So I'm just using my mat to line this up a little bit. Just getting rid of any pokey out pips. Like I say, this glue does dry clear. So just making sure that goes right up to that edge. And then what I want to do is just make sure those are level, and I think they are. I think that's quite a good job. Although it does look different up there. Let's try have a look. No, I just think it's just my eyesight because they are level. Yeah, I'm going to leave it as it is. The thing says it is, the T-square says it is, so we should be fine. Okay, then I'm just going to pop some 2mm foam pads on here. I'll pop that a little bit on rather than keep it. And another little piece there. Have I got any more? What's it called? Roll. I think I have another strip there. Let's see how this is going down now. But I have got another roll of these up there. But I haven't got any more of that roll of 1mm, so definitely need to be thinking about ordering some more. But there you go. I still think we need to campaign Hunkydory for rolls of foam pads. Obviously it wouldn't be the strips, but although I don't know, they probably could do a really thin strip one, couldn't they? Okay, so just because I've used this all throughout this card making session this time, just going to put that tacky glue on the back just to give me a little bit of wiggle room time. And then what I'm aiming to do, so these little circular bits here, I'm aiming to fill that sort of gap and keep them even with the top and the bottom. I think about there. Let's have a little look. Yep, that looks good to me. Looks good on camera, I think. Yep, looks okay. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just turn the camera off for a second. So when I come back, I'll have die cut a sentiment. It's probably going to be a Hunkydory one, but bear with me while I do that. Okay, so I've decided to go with this Make-A-Wish, which is an old die. I don't think it's available from Hunkydory anymore. I might be able to get it eBay, those sort of places. This product code on it is Moonstone or Mstone 362, and it has a longer piece than I've cut it off, obviously, and you can cut it in or cut it out. So the other one I did and ahh about was the Essential Vertical Sentiments, which could have had a happy birthday on there, but I decided this would fit quite nicely in there. The only thing is I'm going to have to use my little tweezers to hold that down because it is trying to bend up. So the way I'm going to do this, I'm using the tacky glue on the back of my hand. Now I know that my skin has no problem with this, and actually I quite like the satisfaction of peeling it all off once it's dry. But if you are, you know, sensitive to any of these things, then please use purple glue stick, Xyron sticker maker. You know, all of those things are perfect for this sort of job. Now if I get that underneath, I'm going to pop that on. Just make sure that's, bring it down just a little bit, I think. You want it to be, oh, it's alright, it's stuck quite nicely now. Maybe it just needed that glue on. Okay, we'll go with that. Make a wish. It's perfect. Then I'm bringing in these little black pearls. I say little, there's 6 sizes. I want these smaller ones, I think. Let's have a little dot about and see where we want them to go. So I'm kind of thinking maybe I can get them turned over. Maybe a little sort of spray to the side, but then again I may end up doing some in the corners. This is just for a little bit of interest. Let's just put that one in there. Let's just grab a couple of these smaller ones. Let's get rid of that one and grab another one of these maybe. Yeah, kind of like that. So I'm not going to put any at the top. I'm going to leave those places. You could do, if you wanted to, add some more in. More is more. And oops. But today we are less is more. Let's turn this around gently. I'm working with my wrong hand again. And we turn this around. The good thing about these non-self-adhesive gems is you know, you do get to sort of play with the placement, whereas with the self-adhesive ones, although you can see on the clear sheet where you're going to put them, you can't really play with them in the same way. Oops, that goes on there. So that is going to be that card finished. Now what I thought I might do, because this is a slightly shorter video, just really slightly shorter, I'll show you how I would put the insert in for that. So let me grab the insert, and I want my little guillotine for cutting these. It is the best thing for cutting this paper. So I'm going to cut it to 3 notches under the 6th. I'm going to keep all of that arc in this time, so 3 notches under the 6th, 3 notches under the 6th, And then this one is going to be 3 notches under the 3. Actually, let's put that corner in. 3 notches under the 3. And then take a bit of that corner off. And that's going to go in that second. We've still got this piece here, which you could use as normal sort of pattern paper. You could go ahead and pop your paper pad onto that, use that if you run out. So I'm just carefully going to open that up. I'm going to pop, I just used the all-purpose glue on this one, or construction glue, whichever glue you have, the alcohol based one. And then I'm going to turn that around so we've got that in the same corner. And lately I've been gluing them fully down. If you want more of a sort of loose leaf feel, what you can do is just glue the top edge. So you would just sort of put some glue along the edge like so, and then pop it in, and you would get that sort of loose leaf feel to the card. That one's just going to go in there. Obviously, because we're using that all-purpose glue, you do just get that ability to move that around. Because I'm not using any gold mirror card, I don't have to worry if some comes out of the end like that did. I can just wipe it away. Those are today's cards, all ready to go. I think with this kit it is handy to have something like the dies if you are a die cutter. If you aren't a die cutter, maybe you've got some Spellbinders die, foiling dies, and you can use some black foil to produce yourself some little sentiment dies. Always really useful if you've got that ability. The other thing you can do if you haven't got that ability is if you've got a laminator and you have access to a printer with the toner cartridge, you can just print out sentiments, pop some specialised gold foil. You would have to search for that gold or black foil, whichever foil you want to use, and you can pop that on top of whatever you've printed with the toner cartridge and pop it through a laminator and it will foil it. If you haven't got access to a toner printer, you know, photocopiers generally tend to use the big photocopiers anyway, they tend to use toner cartridges, so it may be a case that you could print something out and have it printed at a printing place for a couple of pennies. It doesn't really cost a lot, and then you use your laminator to foil them if you've got the foil. If not, I think Hunkydory have said that they will be bringing out a book with the black foil on, so I don't know when that's coming, but they have said that a couple of times. I'm hoping that is going to be coming sometime soon. But that's it for me today. So next time, coming back with another one of these kits from this Woodland Wonders, Woodland Wildlife, sorry, and I'm going to keep working through it, and then there's 2 more sets and then the little book as well. So that's what's going to be coming up on the channel. But thank you so much for watching. Take care of yourselves, have a good weekend, and until next time, happy crafting. Bye.